Hello everyone, and warmly welcome to this info session about Urban Tech Helsinki Incubator third call for startups. This is the third time actually we are hosting this kind of events, and I'm glad to say that it's more exciting every time. We have excellent guests. We have already a good number of great startups in our program, so my job here gets easier every time we do this with the excellent people we are working. So my name is Kaisa Ahonen. I'm the project manager of Urban Tech Helsinki Incubator. And today we have an exciting program for you. We will start with the details of our third call and some basics. First, some basics about Urban Tech. I guess many of you already know about this. You know what Urban Tech is and why is it important. But at the moment, most of us on this globe live in urban areas, and in a couple of years, almost 2/3 of people will live in urban areas. So cities are also major contributors to the climate change. Greenhouse emissions use a lot of energy. So in urban tech is where the battle for climate change is either going to be won or lost. If we solve the sustainability challenges of the cities, I'm sure this planet will have a much better chance. And why Helsinki, Finland is a good place for urban tech? European Union just recently chose 6 cities in Finland as pioneers of climate neutrality. Happy to say that Helsinki is of course one of them. And in the city strategy called the Place of Growth, it's very highly, on very high prioritization that city wants to achieve its climate goals and also increase digitalization and sustainability within the city functions. And if we add to that attracting and supporting talents and startups here, so that's why Urban Tech Helsinki is established. And of course, the other side of this partnership is by Aalto University, where my home base is. So Aalto's purpose is also to shape a sustainable future with research and science, art, technology and business. So this is a good combination the Urban Tech Helsinki has. So in short, we help the startups solve the sustainability challenges of future cities in our incubation program. And currently we have plus 20 startups in our portfolio, and you will be meeting representatives of 2 of them today. And the rest of them you can check on our website, urbantechhelsinki.fi. And as I mentioned, City of Helsinki and Aalto University run this operation together, but we also have partners from the University of Helsinki and Metropolitan University of Applied Sciences. So the top ones in the area are our honored partners. And we work here, where we are streaming now, in Maria 01, the leading Nordic startup hub, Urban 3 co-working space, but also have a base in Aalto's Startup Center A-Grid in Otaniemi, Espoo. So 2 locations. And as Urban Tech Helsinki, we are a part of the whole ecosystem here, also the startup ecosystem, operating as a facilitator between partners in public and private sectors. So universities, cities, startups, corporates, other actors. We run the incubator for early stage urban tech startups, but also do pre-incubator activities on partner campuses. So looking forward to see also even earlier stage teams, not even startups yet, on the campuses in the future. The thematic areas are listed here. So basically anything and everything that makes the future cities more sustainable, more livable, better places for citizens. So we are eager to hear from you and help you in your endeavors. And then what we offer for startups. We have flexible incubation periods, quite long, because we know this kind of technology takes time from 12 to 36 months. We work closely together with the City of Helsinki, especially testbed.helsinki, to find real-life opportunities for testing and validation. Connecting to partners and matchmaking are very important, as well as then the basics, exploring funding opportunities for your startups and the benefits of the Helsinki startup ecosystem. The concrete benefits are listed here. So as we are publicly funded, so we are free of charge and no equity taken. And the Maria Startup Hub membership with all its perks comes along with our membership. So our home base Aalto Startup Center has been doing incubation and acceleration for 25 years already. So we have an extensive mentor database, different startup and innovation development tools, major event coordination like Arctic 15 and Slush, for example, as well as expertise in the area. Also, we follow the Aalto Startup Center coaching and training process, which was rated favorably in the UBI evaluations. And of course, the visibility, marketing and PR support in our ecosystem. We do short videos of our startups, write articles them, and use our networks to create positive PR for our startups. So we are very happy about that. And then who do we want to apply for us? So as mentioned, an established startup team. So the company has to be up and running. And also international applicants are welcome. We start with the 8-week onboarding period, and we hope that the pandemic situation allowing, that the teams would be able to come physically here in Maria 01, because the community creation is so much easier in real life than in Teams. But if you have a technology with a scalable business model, minimum viable product, proof of concept or something like that, that can be start testing with our partners, and a team of technical and business-oriented founders, please apply, and hopefully we can work together to create more sustainable cities. That's us in a nutshell. And who are we looking for? And now it's my honor to ask to the stage our keynote, from innovation to startup, or from a researcher to innovation to startup, maybe from a wider perspective. Reetta Kivelä, Professor of Practice from University of Helsinki. Warmly welcome, Reetta.
Thank you. Great. So I'm sorry to start this with a little bit like putting myself down and saying that I have not prepared so very well. So part of my slides are even in Finnish. And that's because I wanted to have a vacation, and I'm an entrepreneur, so there is always a hustle when you want to do something like what is called like to take some off from work. So yes, so my name is Reetta Kivelä, and I'm working partially at the University of Helsinki as a professor of practice, and we are actually having there also a thematic accelerator or pre-accelerator. And I'm responsible of the students accelerator that we are starting now very first time as a long version, and the second time we are running for the researchers and more like dedicated idea owners, so to say it, so to put it that way. And the other part of my week goes with different startups. So I founded my first startup 2015. I've been there almost already 10 years running after these ideas. And the first company was called Gold&Green Foods. That was actually exit was made already when the company was 18 months old, so 2016. And then I worked there for 2019, 2020. And after that, I have been working with several other food companies. Now I have duties in 5 or actually 6 different companies, mainly board member duties or advisor duties. But then I'm working in an operational level in Nordic Umami Company. That is the logo there. And in Nordic Umami Company, we are wanting to make the deliciousness for the plant protein products and another alternative protein products. So we are making the umami that is lacking from these new proteins. And I hope that I can just valorize a little bit what I think about what is the difference in being a researcher and wanting to be a CTO, and what is the jump there. So it's, of course, when we are talking about innovation, and it's a little bit already like a too much used word, but it's good to remember that innovation is execution. So there is lots of talk about ideas when we are talking about startups. We are always saying that, hey, brilliant and radical and whatever idea, but actually the idea can be just quite basic if the execution is genius. So you just need to have the need, and you need to have the problem what you want to solve. But the idea itself, it doesn't need to be so clever if you just know that you can do it better than anyone else. And that makes it an innovation. And innovation is always something that has a benefit. So hyöty in Finnish is the word. So there needs to be value in that discovery what you have. And that is kind of like a loop. So you are having ideas, and then you are knowing that there is some benefit, but then you are wanting more and more innovation and so on. So it's like all the time going loop what you are having. And that is the space where the technology leaders are really working on. So it's how and to who and why, and the how question is mostly to us. This is our innovation process in Nordic Umami Company, and I think that this is really much what we are following. So what is important here is that we are having this exploring phase there, and then we go to the hypothesis and start testing. And after we know enough about the feasibility and the opportunity, then we can make the concept and go further and make it a real project to study if there is markets really, and the test with consumers, clients, and so on, and start scaling. So this is basically what we are doing every day. And what is innovation? So basically, if being like simple, there needs to be 3 different parts. So it needs to be desirable. There are the consumers, there are the end users or clients, and then it needs to be feasible. So it needs to be something that we really can make and really can be made in this world. It can see in the first sight that it's impossible, and that's called then startup if it looks that something is impossible. But in the end, it needs to be feasible. So there needs to be the solutions how to make something that people want. And then, of course, but to do it needs to be cheaper than selling it. So it needs to be profitable. So that's basically the 3 different things. And of course, I had this globe there because I think that in my world, behind everything, there is the globe, and there is our common need. There is the sustainability questions. So that's why it's always there, the 4th angle. And this is, I'm sorry, again in Finnish, but löydös means discovery, and this is the context of the researcher. So here I just, with a few slides, I try to just open a little bit what I mean, what for me was to be a researcher. So it's mainly about the publications, and so that I can have the field that interests the funders of the research. And of course there is the research community that I have to be like acknowledged and this is all those things that I need to play with and I need to handle with, and if I can make many high quality publications, then I can possibly go on with my career. Of course, this is, everyone knows that there is lots of pain also having this research funding and so on, but to simplify this. And then when we go to more like to the discovery and the inventors contexts, then we have there also the benefits. So we have the consumer or the client. We have there quite often we have like retails or some other channels. Then we have the investors, and then we have patents and IPR. How do we own our discoveries? And we have already the team. Of course, also in research we have team, but the teams, it's often quite different, the team working space in this context. And then we also quite often need to are in a state that we start. I mean, we need to think about the whole supply chain. So the ingredients, for example, if I'm inventing something really new, and then I know that the scaling is somewhere there, even though this is only a discovery now or invent, then I need to understand that where do I get the ingredients that are making my product. For example, pulled oats, we didn't have those plant-based protein isolates we wanted to use, so we needed to go out there and start developing them with other ingredient suppliers. So it comes much more already when we go towards the discovery from the research. And then if thinking about this innovation and this context of CTO, then there are lots of these different processes that the leader or director needs to handle. So it's already about the field of the market, so understanding the market and the consumer more widely, so that you can see if after like 5 years and 3 years and so on, so that you can have your portfolio and manage your portfolio, so that you can lead your expert team and you can lead your portfolio. And then also there is this like research. You need to have always the research so that there is more ideas coming. And then after this is product development and renewing like continuously. And of course these all are like anchored with the strategy of the company. And then there is the IPR, leading the IPR, leading the know-how, and that is like already like an own state of art, how it's clever to do and what is the strategy, IPR strategy to be taken. And then of course quality, safety, and the stability and optimization, they are things that are taking lots of time that are not needed when you are a researcher or making a research paper. So that's what I think that is the journey to grow up from a researcher to a CTO. And after when drawing these all down and understanding that actually I've been running all these different processes with those 70 people that were working for Gold&Green, for example, I mean, it's quite understandable that most of the CTOs actually go through the burnout at some time. So that's why it's good to understand that there is lots of coming and how to manage it, so how to resource all these things. And then, of course, saying that's why to jump anywhere. If you are having a nice job as a researcher and you are getting funding and you are really liking what you are doing, why should you be an entrepreneur? That is always a good question. And I think that people are asking that a lot. I've been talking a lot with the scientists, and for everyone, it's not a choice at all. But for those who have a worry, for example, then being an entrepreneur it's a really good way of solving out the worry you have. For example, for me, this is an old picture, and now we know that this is already happening. We have seen for what happens to Po River or Loire River, however it's pronounced. But so it's already in Europe. So this was an old picture that was hanging actually on my supervisor's wall when I was making my PhD. And I was always watching that. I was thinking that why no one is speaking about this and why this is hanging there, why this is happening, so that all those agricultural zones that were really are the most important for us, they are trying in quite a few years. And now it's happening. And I think this was my reason to start to be an entrepreneur, so that I had this worry. And I thought that I was quite alone, and I felt that I couldn't have an impact through normal ways, like just being a worker in a corporation, for example. And then there needs to be dreams, because worries are like too heavy to be the motivation. If we are only having worries, it's like it's taking all the energy. But I'm talking lots about dreams in my lectures, because I think it's behind everything. So here is actually like two girls on top of the world and saying that, imagine if you could make an impact. That was it was a really great thought for me that, hey, I have an expertise, I know everything about oats, and I have a partner with who I could make actually something. And then, of course, I had another dream, that was that I could have an own production line. That was my a big dream. But it can be something small. It doesn't need to be like change the whole deforestation or something. It can be something more. And then from dreams it comes, there is the purpose, why to be an entrepreneur, and also the driving force. When there are those tough nights, you need to driving force, and you need to go back to your dreams again and again. And that's why it's very important to, in the beginning of your entrepreneurship, to think about your dreams. Of course, then, when we go further, there needs to be the potential, so that you have the reason to believe why you start to solve the problem you have. So is it a problem to anyone else, or is it only to you? And I think these are the most important things why someone could start to be an entrepreneur from a researcher phase. So you only need to have a worry, a value, and the worry is of course like values. And then a dream, it's about the vision, it's about the driving force. And then the potential reason to believe, it's also making the focus, what should you do and are you doing the right thing? And that's of course one thing that is also like keeping me up, so that people are always asking that what are we eating at 2050? So it depends on us, what we are creating. And so the best way of predict the future is to create it. Thank you. And that's just one thing. So this is the student accelerator, what we are just now starting, and there is still the application open, so you can apply if you have just whatever idea from for the sustainable food system. You can just apply in. Thank you.
Thank you, Reetta. It's always inspiring to hear about the stories, how people think of their work and how they have developed. What would be your advice to any researcher or other persons when they are starting thinking that could I be an entrepreneur?
I think that if you have the fire, then you should be an entrepreneur, because we are quite rare people in the end. And if you feel that, hey, should I be, then you really should, and you should open this and start talking to people and come to these kind of events and find those other people who are firing to entrepreneurship and changing the world. So I think everything is about are you a maker? Are you the changer? So that is the question.
Thank you for also boosting up the Wiki program, because sorry, now. Yes, thank you for boosting up the Wiki program, because we see it also as an important step. So first you have to have the pre-incubator activities to talk with similar like-minded people and to ponder and maybe change ideas.
Yes.
And
yes, that is the idea. The name of the first course, like a small course, is me as a change maker. So it's really that, could I be the one who could change something?
Is there something that should be added to the Helsinki startup ecosystem for researchers, for example? We have programs, we have investors, we have events. Is something still missing?
I think now we are creating this ecosystem, but still there are missing. For example, in the very start, what we are now doing at the university, and the university is of course a really good place to do that the really early stage. But then they can go, if the idea is good and if it's developing, they can go to accelerators, and then possibly the piloting is now something that is missing. So where are our halls that we can just start building up? For example, Nordic umami company is working or having our facilities in Kera, Espoo. That is a great place because there is only halls. It's like Berlin. You can just make whatever you want, and there are others, lots of others, and people are helping each other. So that kind of cheap places and piloting places, I think that we need.
And especially the physical spaces and not just virtual communities.
Yeah, so where to build your facilities, like the first one when there is the biggest risk.
And you also have the nice facilities in Viikki there, the laboratories and all that. So that's very impressive. So as you probably noticed, the urban farming is one of our thematic areas. So we've also been talking closely to people in your program. So
yeah, that's really nice.
Looking forward to it. And actually today in the fireside chat, Jarmo Lehtonen and Metabar is on the urban farming sphere, and Päivi Raivio from Parkly has experience also from Kera. So maybe it's now time to thank you, Reetta. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was not speaking on the mic. So.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Yes, thank you. So a smooth move to our next part. Please welcome Päivi, Jarmo. And I will give this microphone to you. And now we'll have our business advisor from Urban Tech Helsinki, Ari Seppänen, leading this chat. So go ahead, Ari.
Thank you, Kaisa, and thank you, Reetta, for a great presentation. And warmly welcome also from my behalf, and of course Päivi and Jarmo. So we have a pleasure to have two brave entrepreneurs and co-founders, Päivi Raivio from Parkly and Jarmo Lehtonen from Metagrow. There stands Metabar, but they are quite close, and this is the different company, but you are also active on that, but Jarmo is presenting Metagrow at this. So Päivi and Jarmo are presenting those companies that are in our second path, and we can start it to get to know you a little bit better as a person. How did you end up with the idea to be a co-founder or entrepreneur? Reetta also talked quite a lot about the spirit and the worries and the mission and vision where we can stick when the hard days comes. But how did you end up to be a co-founder? If Päivi, you can start with that.
Yes, thank you, Ari. Yeah, I've been working as a urban designer and placemaker, and also with a bit of public art for more than 10 years. And my passion is really about cities and public spaces. And with my partner Daniel, we started to develop actually during Corona or COVID, when we had a bit slower working pace. We started to really think about more sharply, like what are our goals and values and so on. And yeah, our passion is really about creating urban change from public places onwards to the whole city. But we work with small public spaces, and we really believe in the kind of transformation power from this. So this is how we started to develop Parkly, which is a modular kind of solution for public spaces to bring more green and liveliness in public spaces. But ultimately our mission is to transform cities to more sustainable.
Thank you, Päivi. What about Jarmo? What was the motivator? How to be an entrepreneur? You are not first time doing this, and tell in a nutshell.
Yes, I have like more than 2 decades cooperation background globally. So it was like I was thirsty to become an entrepreneur, and I was actually working with in corporation also like entrepreneur. So I had like opportunities to work with my own like wills. But Metagrow, based on certain patents, we are utilizing patents, and basically it's the company Metabar, which you can see there. But now, about 1 year ago, I was invited to hackathon in Aalto University to make something with 3D printing, in business, how to benefit 3D printing. And I had great team. It was international hackathon, 2 weeks. And somehow, because I've been following this kind of farming issues and water problems and the heat, growing heat issues, so I was like, the theme was vertical farming. And I gave the technology to these postdoctoral researchers. And in 2 weeks, they managed to create a demonstration with our technology. And basically, it worked like something, it was great idea. And that day, I noticed that I need to make first spin-off from Metabar. And Metagrow was born, actually. Then same time, I noticed that there is a Urban Tech kind of incubator program beginning or starting. And I saw the application. I noticed and I made the application, filed that, and we are now in the program. So basically, it's a chain of kind of interesting things, happenings, and events.
So great to have some kind of description about your businesses also. But shall we dig a little bit about the companies itself? That what is the opportunity or problem that your company is solving, and who are the target customers? That how to make the better cities? What is our covering story also in the urban tech? But Päivi, you did mention it something about that, but can you a little bit go deeper on that?
Yes, our target customers are in the kind of cities and municipalities that are ready to innovate how cities are done or planned, but also office parks, campus areas where there's a lot of public spaces and kind of connection point which should be activated to add more value, to add more use and potential for such places, but also in the real estate developers, for instance. There is new needs for different products to act faster, so to say. So this is what we are doing. We are using our modular thinking and system and design to create solutions for different clients. But this is something we are still kind of developing, that who are the actual most target clients we would focus on. But we've narrowed down from about 10 now to 3.
Yeah, that's what we are doing with Päivi together. That's why incubator program is for that, just fine-tuning the target program and the value proposition, and make that the loop that Reetta also described, that how to validate that value proposition, and do we are handling with the right customers that are willing to, let's say, at least someday pay for the solution and product. Before we turn to the Jarmo, what keeps you busy right now, Päivi? What are the most important things or topics on which you are working with your startups, let's say, in coming weeks?
Oh, yes. Well, with this program, of course, the business modeling or business model development, I have to say this is one of the big assets for us to being in this program, because our background is in design and kind of business knowledge is not so strong. So this is helping us to define the business model. So this is what we are doing. We are also just finalized our one concrete project in Turku Science Park, which is a really good example of a client. And then we are preparing the next prototypes of our products. So we've been running now 2 years, and every year it's developing. And now within the next few weeks, Daniel is setting up one module type more. So there's a lot of kind of theoretical stuff, very practical stuff, admin, and you know.
Thank you, Päivi. So same to Jarmo, that small description in a brief, what is the challenge, the opportunity that Metagrow is handling, and what might be the target customers, and what keeps you busy right now, as Päivi also described.
We know the global situation: dryness, heat, sun, basically the farming problems. And basically we know that the water is an issue, what must be taken a concern. And I think that what Metagrow is now doing with the innovation is that we can use optimize or use the minimized amount of water to make things what are done today different way with a lot of water. So our basically focus is in water-rich companies. We try to be game changer in the farming industry, and basically we have the technology, the target like Intel inside in computers, so we can design and develop technology with the nozzle technology. We have the nutrition and water management. We have the climate and the air management in the program. So we are at the moment basically done the POC, proof of concept, this summer, and then basically we are now preparing the Metropolia Urban Farm Lab location, scalable demonstration for the technology. So I hope that this, and that keeps me busy all the time now. So we are looking for the students, we are looking for the right combination partners, technology partners, and basically, of course, hopefully soon pilots. And we try to make this spring something that we are ready for funding. So that takes my full day.
Yes, so for that, it's great to hear that also the partners that we are offering and can help you on that. You name it Metropolia and the facilities and the projects that are going on, and you can take part on that and take the piloting and testing possibilities also there. In the end, I want to somehow challenge you about the Urban Tech program, and you now have been on board, let's say, half a year. But before that, you end up to be a part of this program. What were your expectations, or did you have any expectation about the program at that? And then we go a little bit those, are they be fulfilled, but what were the expectations?
Expectations were to get expert help in developing Parkly forward to a more basically scalable business and solution. We lack certain expertise, as I said, so this has been probably the biggest expectation. Then of course the peer support and peer knowledge exchange and visibility. I'd say these three things.
Okay, what about Jarmo? You did tell your story, but did you have any expectation on that what are you going to see?
It all happened so fast, the good things. So when you work normally as entrepreneur, you are quite alone, depending on your team size. But when you create something very fast, you cannot just have everybody on the board. So to be able to join the Maria 01 and the Urban Tech program, this is a community. We have I have a lot of the company has a lot of friend companies and friends, and we share the same challenges. We know what the others are fighting for, and of course we are in the same situation. Not all in the same situation, but we have the same target. And basically that support with the sponsors and basically mentors and the business advisors, those all help. So like Metagrow, like we discussed just before this event, that Metagrow is half a year, 6 months soon. So we are quite far basically from zero, not zero, but as innovation in the good speed. So it's all about that what we have got the support from this program.
So thank you. Yes, I'm repeating myself a bit, but in the end, Päivi and Jarmo, if you have to mention something or what are the matters or topics that have you been received the most value when taking part in the program, and when you're looking up the startup process, even you are very, very early phases, but if you have to mention a couple of those things, that what were the good things, and so far, if there is something that we can improve, that if there's something to be done from your perspective or with your expectation, reflecting to your expectation, that pros and cons from your point of view?
Yes, I think definitely the access to the expert pool, like mentoring and so on, is a big asset, because without such program, where would you look for it? Of course, some resources exist, but it's like a kind of concentrated pool of experts that we can really now tap into. I would say we were really busy, as we are always in the springtime. So for us, it's been a bit of a challenge, but like now we are bit on a clearer waters again, and can have more focus on this. But definitely that, and also the support, peer support, all the discussions with fellow companies have been really fruitful, and also the help with our project in Aalto campus. Hopefully will continue, and we can discuss that further. I would say we probably a little bit suffered from the COVID lingering time still, that we haven't met so many times face to face. So I would add, and we talked about this earlier too, that we would add some kind of quite informal even exchange meetings with and see where we are actually now, because when we met in the spring, a lot of things happened, and one thing is quite interesting, that like we've had all this knowledge about funding roadmaps and so on, but you can pretty much focus on one thing at a time. So we've had a lot of knowledge, but now we are at the moment where we really have to go into that. So there's like time for everything, and this program helps to kind of access that knowledge when the time is right.
And Jarmo?
The same. So basically,
keep the focus.
Like I don't want to copy what I say, but basically the opportunity to many things, the friends, the kind of sharing ideas and discussions, and a little bit kicking ass to make things happen. That's also good. I think the biggest thing is the keys to the future cooperation. So like we have done many agreements that what we might make to in the future with these companies, and I think that only thing what is really like challenge is the funding side, because early companies we need to get in some level, and that's what we are working and trying to make. But at this point, we should have some kind of support money, which would be very helpful. But I think it's a great thing, and we are in the good run.
So, thank you, Päivi and Jarmo. Now our info session is turning to end, and Kaisa takes the stage. And if you can pass the microphone, and I will thank you for this, and thank you, Päivi and Jarmo.
Thank you, Päivi and Jarmo. Basically, questions and answers section is here. We had the possibility to ask questions in our live chat in YouTube, but I guess that has been quite quiet at the moment. So if you still have questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We'll be happy to answer. Here's our extended team and our contact information. And just a reminder, our third call is ending on 28th of August, so still 10 days left to apply. The application process is very easy, a short form on urbantechhelsinki.fi. And if you want to contact us, me or Ari, to talk about your possible application, please do not hesitate to do so. We are happy to help. At this point, I would like to thank everyone, Reetta, Päivi, Jarmo, Ari, and also our team here in Urban 3, Shuangyi and Igor. Thank you for making this possible. And hope to hear from you soon. Thank you, everyone.